Class, our topic for today is taxation on corporations. So class, for this topic, I want you to listen very carefully because dito yung significant yung effect ng create law. Alright? So maraming changes sa taxation on corporations under create law. So listen very carefully. Okay, so also class, yung mga concepts na natutunan natin sa taxation of individuals, marami doon gagamit din natin dito sa corporation. So marami silang similar concepts, right? Sige, so let's start muna class with the classification of corporate taxpayers. Classification. We have three, okay? Number one is what we call domestic corporations or DC. Number two, we have resident foreign corporations or RFC. So class, medyo lilitan ko yung handwriting ko para magkasya yung sulat ko sa board. And number three, we have non-resident foreign corporation or NRFC. Ay sir, parang familiar yan ah. Sa individuals, meron kang resident citizen, non-resident citizen, resident alien, non-resident alien. For corporations naman class, meron tayong domestic corporations, resident foreign corporations, and non-resident foreign corporations. Sir, bakit kailangan natin i-distinguish yung tatlo na yan? Because dito mag-a-apply yung situs or place of taxation. So ito yung income earned within the Philippines or inside the Philippines. Ito naman yung income earned without or outside the Philippines or abroad. Okay. So if you're a domestic corporation, taxable ka within and without the Philippines. Alright? If you're a resident foreign corporation and non-resident foreign corporation, taxable ka lang within the Philippines. Got it? Okay. So ibig sabihin class, yung domestic corporation, kung maalala nyo, yan yung counterpart ng resident citizen. Naalala nyo class yung resident citizen sa individuals, di ba taxable globally yun? Ganun din yung domestic corporations. Okay? So ganyan ka-important yan. So kaya kailangan class natin malaman yung isang corporation kung anong classification niya. Alright? Sir, paano natin malalaman yun? Mag-start muna tayo with domestic corporations. So class, domestic corporations, these are corporations that are created and organized under Philippine laws. Okay? So ibig sabihin class, nag-comply sila sa requirements ng Revised Corporation Code of the Philippines, so requirements of Securities and Exchange Commission and yung mga listed companies sa Philippine Stock Exchange. Okay? Domestic corporations yun. Now, yung mga corporations na familiar tayo, actually domestic corporations yan. For example, mga banks, BDO, BPI, Metrobank, what else? And then yung, for example, PLDT and Globe, ayan, mga domestic corporations lahat yan. San Miguel Corporation, SM, Jollibee, okay, Ayala, what else? So Cebu Pacific, PLDT na Cebu Pacific, PAL, okay, GMA, ABS-CBN. So yung mga huge corporations na yung class, most of them are domestic corporations. Got it? Okay, now, sir, ano naman yung resident foreign corporations? If yung domestic corporation is organized and created under Philippine laws, kaya siya tinawag na foreign, well, obviously, created and organized under foreign laws naman yan. Alright? So, pero meron silang operations here in the Philippines. Kaya tinawag natin sila na resident. Okay? So, with operations in the Philippines. I'll give you examples. For example, class McDonald's. Well, alam natin, daming McDonald's in the Philippines. Pero hindi siya actually based dito sa Philippines. Mga branches lang yun nandito. Okay? Yung head office niya, nasa abroad yun. Okay? What else? McDonald's, Unilever, Nestle, Citibank, HSBC, ano pa? Coca-Cola, Toyota, Mitsubishi, and so on and so forth. Ang tawag natin sa kanya class, these are resident foreign corporations. Okay? And last one is non-resident foreign corporations. These non-resident foreign corporations are also created and organized under foreign laws. And they have no operations in the Philippines. Sir, kung no operations in the Philippines, paano nag-earn ng income sa Philippines yan? Okay, nag-earn siya ng income through passive income. Okay? Passive income yung na-earn nila. For example, class, interest. Ano pa? Royalties, dividends, rent. Ayan, yun yung mga passive income. Okay, I'll give you example. Class, are you familiar with Bank Central Asia? Bank Central Asia. Narinig nyo na to? Well, actually, I believe most of you hindi kayo familiar sa Bank Central Asia. Okay? Pero actually, yun yung largest privately owned bank in Indonesia. Alright? So, Bank Central Asia. Now, hindi siya familiar sa atin because wala siyang branch or wala siyang operation sa Philippines. Okay? Kaya siya non-resident foreign corporation. So, tandaan mo class, kapag walang branches, okay, no branches or offices in the Philippines, NRFC na yun. Okay? Pag RFC naman, with branches in the Philippines. Kaya yung Bank Central Asia, hindi tayo familiar kasi sa Indonesia lang meron yan. Pero possible na mag-earn ng income yan in the Philippines. Sir, paano yun? For example, class, let's say si PLDT. Okay? Gusto niya mag-expand. Gusto niya mag-borrow sa bangko. Pero prefer niya na foreign loans. Okay? Foreign bank yung doon siya mag-borrow. So let's say si PLDT nag-decide na mag-borrow siya sa Bank Central Asia. Right? So yung Bank Central Asia, since merong utang, mag-charge siya ng interest kay PLDT. Tama? So interest income yun. Okay? So, yun yung example ng passive income. So, again, yung non-resident foreign corporations, nag-earn sila passively here in the Philippines. Got it? Okay. So, alam na natin yung differences ng tatlo na yan. Now, let's proceed dun sa tax rate naman nila. Sir, ano yung tax rate ngayon ng corporations or the regular corporate income tax? Before, sa under train law, 30% yan. Tama? Sa create, binabaan na yan. Tama? So, ang tax rate na nating class ngayon is 25%. Actually, yan yung major change under create. From 30%, ginawa ng 25% for corporations. Now, meron tayong isang exception. Under domestic corporation class, diba 25 yung general rule natin, may exception dyan. Except, if the net taxable income of the domestic corporation, okay, does not exceed 5 million, alright, and the total assets of the domestic corporation do not exceed 100 million, magiging tax rate nila is 20%. Got it? So, in general rule natin, again, 25%, 25%, 25%. Meron tayong exception for domestic corporation. If the net taxable income, ito yung dalawang threshold natin, does not exceed 5 million, total assets do not exceed 100 million, 20% yung magiging tax rate niyan. Take note class na yung total assets dito, according to the tax code, should exclude the land, okay, where the business is located. No? Hindi mo isasama yung value ng land sa computation ng total assets. Alright? Now, para malaman yung class, yung maalala nyo yung threshold na yan, actually, ang tawag natin dito sa mga businesses na merong net taxable income na 5 million and assets na 100 million, these are your micro, small, and medium enterprises. Okay? Or we also call this the MSMEs. MSMEs, the micro, small, medium enterprises. Yun yung threshold nila. Okay? So in class, yung create kasi, one of the objectives yan is to help businesses recover from the effects of the pandemic. Okay? And yung mga business na yan, especially small businesses, malaki yung effects sa kanila ng pandemic. So kaya sa kanila class, instead of 25%, mas mababa pa, 20%. Got it? Okay. Ayan. So ito, bagong-bago yan. Walang ganyan dati sa train law. Okay, sa creating introduce yan. And also class, don't forget na yung non-resident foreign corporation, this is in a form of final withholding tax. 25% final withholding tax. Actually, yung final withholding tax na yan for non-resident foreign corporation, kung maalala nyo class, parang ganyan din yung NRA, NETB sa individuals. Naalala nyo? Di ba final withholding tax din yan? Alright. So alam na natin yung tax rates nila. Dapat class, alam rin natin kung ano yung tax base. Okay? Sir, what do you mean by tax base? So basically, dyan natin multiply yung tax rates. Okay? Yun yung tax base natin. For domestic corporations, so tax base is taxable income. Well, let's call it net taxable income. Okay? Pag resident foreign corporation, tax base is net taxable income. Pag naman non-resident foreign corporation, this is based on gross income. Parang NRA, NETB. Di ba? Based on gross income yun. Ganun din dito sa non-resident foreign corporations. Got it? Okay. Now, tignan natin class. So before we move on to discussion natin, tignan muna natin class kung ano ba yung types of income, okay, na binabayaran ng corporations. Okay, types of income taxes. Number 1, corporations pay basic income tax. Okay, they also pay final withholding tax and capital gains tax. Uy, familiar sir ah. Ganito rin kasi sa individuals. Naalala nyo, ganito rin sa individuals? Okay. So later natin i-discuss to class ha, yung final withholding tax and capital gains tax. Lahat yan nasa G-sheets natin, so magre-refer tayo doon. So basic income tax class, dalawa yan. Meron tayong regular corporate income tax, which is either 25% or 20%. Ito siya. Tama? Plus yung 20%, applicable lang kay domestic corporations ha. So take note yung exception natin na kay domestic corporations lang. Again, walang 20% exception kay resident foreign and non-resident foreign. Okay? Yung 20% exception na yan only applies to domestic corporations. Be careful with that. Okay, so okay na tayo sa RSIT. Meron din tayong klase na tinatawag na minimum corporate income tax or MCIT. Alright? So minimum corporate income tax, so later, expound natin yan, pero basically class, this is 1%. Ayan, 1%. Dati 2% yan, under train. Yung 1% na yan class, temporary lang yan. Okay, babalik din sa 2% next time. Yung date nito class is from July 1, 2020 up to June 30, 2023. Diyan yung 1%. Okay? So starting July 1, 2023, back to 2% yan. Got it? So ilang years yan? 21, 22, 23, so 3 years. So basically parang isipin mo na yung create law, gusto tayong tulungan na makarecover for 3 years. Ganun siya. So ayan. Again, 1% for this time period. After this one, starting July 1, 2023, back to 2% tayo. Okay? So, if alam na natin yung tax rates, alam na natin yung tax base, dapat alam natin kung paano mag-compute. Okay? So, ganito klase ng tatandaan mo dyan. Ito yung format ng computation natin. For me, mas madali yung corporations than individuals. Okay? Kasi tatlo lang yung classifications yan. So, ito tatandaan yung class. Yung format ng computation, mag-start muna tayo with gross income. So, gross income minus allowable deductions you get the net taxable income or the taxable income. Let's call it net taxable income. Multiply by the tax rate, okay? Yung tax rate natin pwedeng 25% or 20%, makukuha natin yung tax due. Ayan. So, ganyan lang, very basic. Gross income minus allowable deductions, you get the net taxable income multiplied by 25% or 20%, you get the tax due. Okay, ito yung mga details sa kailangan mo tandaan. Dito muna tayo sa gross income. Lagay tayo ng footnote. Okay, letter A. For gross income class, tignan mo muna kung anong klase yung binibenta ng corporation. Okay? Pag sale of goods, okay, pwedeng sale of goods yan, or sale of services. Okay? Ano example ng sale of goods? So, for example, class si Jollibee. Okay? Sale of goods yan. Tama? Yung computation class ng gross income niya, kapag sale of goods, mag-start ka sa gross sales, okay, minus sales returns, allowances and discounts, minus cost of sales, you get the gross income. Okay, actually, na-discuss natin ito sa individuals, pero just to recap. So, yung gross income class, kapag sale of goods, you start with gross sales, minus sales returns, allowances and discounts, minus cost of sales, you get the gross income. Got it? Now, kapag ka naman class, sale of services, okay? Ano example ng sale of services? For example, kasi BDO. Ayan. Services mostly binibenta niyan. Okay? Yung computation naman ng class is gross receipts. So, lahat ng na-receive, okay? Gross receipts minus allowances and discounts. Siyempre, walang returns yan. Okay? Hindi mo naman mababalik yung service. Okay? So, allowances and discounts lang yan. Minus cost of services, you get the gross income. Okay? So, alam natin yan. Another one is, keep in mind na yung gross income na pinag-uusapan natin dito, class, excludes income subject to final withholding tax and capital gains tax. So, alam niyo na yan from individuals na kapag subject ka to final withholding tax and capital gains tax, hindi ka na pupunta dito because direct double taxation yun. So, hinighlight ko lang class na this gross income excludes income subject to final withholding tax and capital gains tax. Got it? Okay. So, yun yung gross income. Now, punta tayo sa allowable deductions. Allowable deductions, dito tayo class, letter B. Okay. Sa allowable deductions class, two types yan. Meron tayong tinatawag na itemized deductions. And then, meron tayong tinatawag na sa dito, itemized deductions or the optional standard deduction or OSD. Optional standard deduction or OSD. Okay? So, start muna tayo sa itemized deductions. Plus yung itemized deductions, these are your actual expenses. So, yung actual na na-incur mo for rent, okay, rent expense mo, salaries expense, utilities expense, and so on. Ang tawag natin dyan class, itemized deductions. Right? Since actual expenses siya, dapat supported siya by or substantiated siya by receipts. Okay? Receipts, invoices, and so on. Okay? So, bago mo ma-deduct class, yung mga expenses na yan, dapat substantiated by supporting documents such as receipts and invoices. Now, kapag ka naman sinabing optional standard deduction, kung yung itemized is actual, ito naman class, pwede mong isipan na estimated naman yan. Estimated expenses yan. This is computed as 40% of gross income. Okay? 40% of gross income. Sir, tuwing kailan natin gagamitin yung itemized saka yung OSD? Well, kapag taxpayer ka, syempre, kukompute mo separately. Tama? Compute mo yung itemized, compute mo yung OSD, kung ano mas malaki doon, syempre, yun yung pipiliin mo. Kasi pag mas malaki yung expenses mo, mas mababa yung magiging tax mo. Tama? Pero take note class na ito yung importante dyan. Dapat i-signify mo siya quarter 1 pa lang. Kasi corporations have to file quarterly ITRs. So quarter 1 pa lang, i-signify mo na. Okay? And kung ano yung pinili mo ng quarter 1, irrevocable na siya for the rest of the year. Okay? So hindi pwedeng, itemize ako ng quarter 1 kasi malaking expenses ko dito. Quarter 2 naman, konti expenses ka, OSD ako dito. Hindi pwede yun. Kung ano yung pinili mo ng quarter 1, irrevocable na siya for the rest of the year. Sounds familiar? Yung 8% income tax option sa individuals. Naalala niyo yan? Di ba kapag nakapili ka ng first quarter, irrevocable na siya sa remaining quarters. Ganun din dito, class. Okay? If walang piliin si taxpayer, okay? Kasi ganito yan, sa ITR yan, i-check mo okay? Meron tayong separate session para dun sa filing of ITR. Pero basically, i-check mo siya kung itemized or OSD. Kapag walang pinili si taxpayer dun, automatic, itemized. Okay? Kumbaga parang if the problem is silent, itemized ang gagamitin mo. Okay? Sige. Alright, so ano pa yung kailangan tandaan natin yung class? Yung OSD na yung class, yung optional standard deduction, actually, nagagamit din yan sa individuals. Right? So this applies to individuals and corporations. Ito lang yung kailangan mong tandaan, class. Individuals and corporations. For individuals, ano ba yung classifications dito? Resident citizen, non-resident citizen, resident alien, and non-resident alien. Okay. So yung for individuals class, yung OSD, pwede mo lang siyang gamitin for the first three. Okay? Hindi siya applicable sa mga non-resident alien. Got it? Kapag naman corporations, meron kang domestic corp, resident foreign corp, and non-resident foreign corp, applicable lang siya sa domestic corp and resident foreign corp. Yung mga non-resident alien, yung mga non-resident foreign corporations, hindi sila pwede mag-avail ng optional standard deduction. Okay? So yun yung sinabi sa tax code. Now class, ito pa yung kailangan kong tandaan dyan sa optional standard deduction. Kapag individuals, ang computation niya class is gross sales or receipts, GSR na lang, gross sales or receipts, multiply natin by, 40%. Okay? Kapag naman corporations class, ang computation ng OSD is gross income times 40%. So ano yung difference yan? So individuals, gross sales or receipts times 40%. So corporation, gross income times 40%. Actually, malaki yung difference yan. Bakit sir? Kasi class, ganito yung computin. Okay? Pakita ko sa inyo. Diba gross sales or receipts minus cost of sales or cost of services slash services, ito yung gross income mo. Tama? Okay? So gross sales or receipts minus cost of sales or services, ito yung gross income. Ngayon class, yung OSD para sa individuals, ang minumultiply mo sa 40% is the gross sales or receipts. Kapag naman corporations, ang minumultiply mo sa 40% is the gross income. Therefore, kapag individuals ka, okay, well, mas malaki yung, base computation na to, mas malaki yung magiging OSD mo. Tama? Kasi ang mumultiply mo siya dun sa gross. While kapag naman corporation, i-minus mo pa yung cost of sales or cost of services. Ako yan? Ulitin ko. Kapag individuals, hindi mo na kailangan i-minus yung cost of sales or services before you multiply to 40%. Pagka naman corporations, based sa gross income. When you say gross income, always after cost of sales or cost of services. Got it? Okay, so some technical differences. So be careful dun. Alright. Next, before we go to our exercises class, sa handouts natin, yung last one na. Okay, last one muna. Piecemeal yung gagawin natin discussion sa corporations. Ito muna. Okay na tayo dito sa RSET. Let's go to MSET. Okay, so class, ito lang yung tandaan mo sa MSET. Minimum Corporate Income Tax. Kaya siya sinabi na minimum. Okay? Because class, ang babayaran mo dyan if you're a corporation is higher between these two. Kaya siya minimum. Okay? So, compute mo yung RSET, compute mo yung MSET, piliin mo yung alin mas mataas doon, then yun yung babayad mo kay BIR. Got it? Alright, so key things to remember for MSET, actually 5. Okay, number 1, MSET is computed as 1% of gross income. Okay, 1% of gross income. Pero take note class again, for this time period lang yan. July 1, 2020 to June 30, 2023. After that, back to 2%. Alright? Number 2, this only applies to domestic corporations and resident foreign corporations. Dito lang. Domestic corp and resident foreign corporations. So class, tingin nyo bakit yung MSET hindi siya applicable sa non-resident foreign corporation? Because, well, since ito 1% of gross income, tapos yung non-resident foreign corporation, 25% of gross income. So walang sense. Obviously, kung parehong gross income yung basis nila, laging mas mataas to, na 25 times. Okay? Kasi 25% of gross income. Got it? So walang sense na i-apply mo siya sa non-resident foreign corporation. Okay, number 3. MSET is effective beginning on the fourth taxable year following year of commencement. Okay? Year of commencement. Okay, ulitin ko. MSET is effective beginning on the 4th taxable year following the year of commencement. So class, ito yung mahalaga, yung 4th taxable year. Ano ibig sabihin nun, sir? For example, class, yung isang business, nag-register siya kay BIR or nag-comment siya ng operations 2021. Okay? So yung computation yung class, laging plus 4. Alright? So plus 4. Ibig sabihin, sa 2025 pa magiging subject to MSET yung particular business na yan. Tuwan yan? Okay. Yun ibig sabihin ng effective beginning on the 4th taxable year following year of commencement. So plus 4 ka lang lagi. Got it? Okay. So isipin nyo dyan class na yung batas, iniisip din na, okay, for the first 4 years ng business, hindi pa stable yan. Baka mababa pa yung sales, mataas pa yung expenses. So after a while, and after 4 years, dun magiging stable yung business. Kaya dun ka palang i-impose ng minimum corporate income tax. Pwede mo isipin na ganun. Alright? Sige. Next. Diba? 5 kailangan mo tandaan sa MSET. Tama? Number 4 is the excess MSET. Okay? Excess MSET. Sir, what do you mean by excess MSET? This happens whenever MSET is greater than RSET. Okay? Yung excess MSET can be carried over for 3 years. Okay? And can be credited against RSET whenever RSET is greater than MSET. Okay? Master, dahil mo sinabi Ulit natin. When you say excess MSET, ibig sabihin mas mataas si MSET than RSET. Kasi class, di ba ang rule natin, compute mo si RSET, compute mo si MSET, piliin mo whichever is higher. So may mga instances na mataas si MSET kaysa RSET. Ang tawag natin doon is excess MSET. Yung excess MSET daw class, pwede mo i-carry over for 3 years. Okay? 3 years lang So sa 4th year, forfeited na yun. 3 years lang pwede. And credited against RSET. Pwede mong i-minus sa RSET mo. Okay? Mamaya, meron tayong exercises para dito. So for now, sulat mo muna yung number 4 na yan. And last one class, before we go to our handouts, yung MSET, tandaan mo, is computed Okay, so MSIT is computed quarterly and annually. Okay? MSIT is computed quarterly and annually. Alright? Okay, so yun yan. Yun yung mga kailangan mo na tandaan so far. So again, ito yung RSIT, MSIT. Later natin discuss yung final withholding tax and capital gains tax. Alright, so let's go to our handouts for corporations. Go to problem number 1. Take note class yung mga questions ito sa handouts natin for corporations. Galing sa BIR yan. Karamihan yan galing sa BIR. So, malaki yung chance na baka ito rin yung ibigay sa isang board exam. So, hopefully, malay mo naman, di ba? Sige. Also, open yung G-Sheets. So, magre-refer tayo dito, class. Sa G-Sheets natin. Ayan. Sige. So, let's go to problem number 1. Yan. Ano kaya pwede kong erase dito? Ayoko sana mag-erase para at least maka-refer tayo dito. Pero wala tayong space. I think, saan kaya tayo mag-erase? Dito na lang. Erase ko to. Pero make sure class na-copy nyo. I think pwede ko na i-erase to. And this one. Sige, pagkasyahin na natin dito yung sagot natin. Okay? Sige class. Let's go to problem number 1. Company X, a retailer, has gross sales of 1.1 billion with cost of sales of 750 million. Allowable deductions of 250 M for the calendar year 2021. Total assets of 230 million as of December 31 per audited FS, which includes land costing 90 million and the building of 45 in which the business entity is situated, with an aggregate amount of 135 million as fixed assets. Right? So yun yung composition of the assets. So 90 plus 45 plus 135. Okay. Tama ba? Total assets includes land costing 90, building 45, and so on. Okay. Assuming calendar year 2021 is the 5th year of operation of Company X. Question number 1, how much was the MSIT? And number 2, how much was the income tax payable? Alright. So ganito gagawin ko dyan, class. Bawasan natin yan. Okay. So, dito tayo mag-compute. Sige, class. So ganito gagawin ko dyan. Gagawin ko muna, for this one, this is a, well, hindi sinabi class kung ano yung classification of this corporation. If the problem is silent, assume na domestic corporation yan. Okay? Now, alam natin class kapag domestic corporation, it's either 25% or 20%. Kaya may binigay sa iyo dyan na assets na 230 million. Pero take note, ang rule natin, yung assets na yan, i-exclude natin yung land. Got it? So pwede mo ilagay dito na yung total assets in the problem, 230 million, minus natin yung land. How much yung land dyan class? 90 million. You get 140 million. Okay? So ignore mo na lang yung fixed assets sa building kasi kasama sila sa computation ng total assets. Right? So no class, since hindi yan mababa sa 100 million or nag-exceed siya ng 100 million, 25% pa rin yung gagamitin mo. Okay? 20% yung gagamitin mo if net taxable income does not exceed 5 million, total assets do not exceed 100 million. Since nag-exceed siya ng 100 million, hindi yung pwedeng gamitin yung 20%. We use 25%. Got it? Okay, so ganito gagawin ko dyan, class. Meron akong gross sales. Kukumpitin ko muna yung RSIT. Okay? And then later kukumpitin ko yung MSIT. So meron akong gross sales. This is 1.1B, okay? 1.1B na nalagay ko dyan. I have cost of sales. How much yung cost of sales, class? 750 million. Okay? You get yung gross income. Tama? So 1.1, so get your calculators. 1.1 minus 750, you have, okay? Minus 750, you have 350 million. Gross income natin is 350 million. Minus the allowable deductions. How much, class, yung nasa problem? 250 million. Ibig sabihin, class, yung net taxable income natin is 100 million. Kaya hindi talaga papasok yung 20%. Kasi net taxable income mo, 5 million yung threshold, ang laki 100 million. So 25% talaga. Multiply by 25%, you get 25 million. RSIT natin from the problem is 25 million. Don't forget to compute for the MSIT. Especially pag sinabi sa problem na nakalagay dyan, assuming calendar year is the 5th year of operation. So sabi ko dito, class, beginning on the 4th year, subject ka na sa MSIT mo. Hindi subject ka na sa MSIT. Okay? So ano ulit, class, yung MSIT natin? 1% of gross income. So, na-compute na natin earlier yung gross income, which is 350 million. So, gross income of 350 million, multiply natin by 1%, you get 3.5 million. We call this the minimum corporate income tax. Yung rule natin, RSIT or MSIT, whichever is higher. Therefore, answer natin dito is 25 million. Okay, yung question 1, how much was the MSIT? Answer mo is 3.5 million. How much was the income tax payable? How much bayaran natin? 25 million. Got it? Whichever is higher. Ayan, so ganun na siya kasimple. So, take note, class, na important is ito muna. Okay? Important yan. Okay? Computin mo muna yung total assets, excluding land, para malaman mo kung anong tax rate yung gagamitin mo. In this case, alam natin na 25%, then we compute for using yung format natin. Okay? Yun lang. Kaya sabi ko sa inyo, class, mas madali kapag corporations than individuals. Let's go to problem number 2. Company X, a manufacturer, has gross sales of 400 million for calendar year 2021. It's second year of operations. Pag sinabing second year of operations, ano agad yung may isip doon? Uy, hindi pa to subject sa MSIT. So, kailangan ko lang computin for this problem is RSIT. Does that make sense? Okay. So, Gross sales of 400 million, okay? And then, total assets amounted to 100 million. Net of the value of land amounting to 35. So, pag sinabi mong net, ibig sabihin, excluding land. Tama ba yan? Okay. So, ibig sabihin, class, yung total assets natin is excluding land. Total assets, excluding land, is 100 million. Uy, parang papasok siya dito ah. Okay? And then, where its manufacturing plant and business operations are situated. Its cost of sales and allowable deductions, 180 million and 70 million. So, yung gross sales natin for this one is 400 million. And then, yung cost of sales natin, class, 180 million. Therefore, 220 million yung gross income natin. Okay? Allowable deductions natin for this problem is 70 million. 220 minus 70, you have 150 million net taxable income. So, ano yung multiply mo class ito? 20% or 25%? Who says 20%? Who says 25%? Sir, di ba 100 million yan? E di ibig sabihin, pwedeng 20%? Take note class na end yan. Alright? Dapat pareho yan ma-meet mo. Since yung net taxable income natin dito class is 150 million, okay, which is way more than 5 million, 25% tayo. Isa lang na-meet mo dito, assets lang. Dapat both yan, okay? So, 150 million times 25%, let's compute. 150 million times 0.25, you get 37.5 million. Our seat natin is 37.5 million. Do you need to compute for the M seat? Answer is no, kasi second year of operations pa lang. Final answer natin dito, class, 37.5 million. Okay. Let's go to number 3. Company X manufacturer has gross sales of 190 million for calendar year 2021. Its second year of operations. Uy, second year. Ibig sabihin, walang M-SIT yan, sir. Okay? Its total assets amounted to 50 million net of the value of the land, so excluding the value of the land na yan, where its manufacturing plant and business operations are situated. Its cost of sales and allowable operating expenses amounted to 100 million and 85 million respectively. Okay. Sige. So, tama. Kasi pag sabing net of the value of the land, ibig sabihin, na-net mo na, na-minus mo na. Alright? So, total assets natin, 50 million. And then, computin natin yung gross sales given sa problem is 190 million. Alright? Cost of sales natin is 100 million according to the last sentence. Ibig sabihin, class, yung gross income natin is 90 million. And then, we have allowable deductions of 85 million. Tama ba? 90 minus 85, you have 5 million na net taxable income. Uy! Total assets na 50 million, net taxable income na 5 million. Ibig sabihin, na-meet mo yung threshold, you can use 20%. Got it? So, 5 million times 20%, you get 1 million tax due. Our seat natin, the tax due is 1 million. Do you need to compute for the M seat? No, because second year operations pa lang. Got it? Final answer natin, class, is 1 million. Alright. Sige. So, that's number 3. Let's go to problem number 4. Ayan. So, maraming scenarios. We have 5 scenarios here. Okay. So, mag-erase tayo ng konti pa para magkasya yung sagot natin. ABC Corporation reported the following information in 2021. Total assets excluding land, 150 million. Yun pa lang. 150 million, ibig sabihin, class, nag-exceed na siya sa threshold natin, subject to 25% yan. Okay, and then we have Philippines and Japan. Gross sales, sales returns allowances, sales discounts, cost of sales, and deductible expenses. And then, compute for the income tax due assuming the following scenarios. Scenario 1 is domestic corporation. Number 2, resident foreign. Number 3, non-resident foreign. Number 4 naman, class, is domestic corporation, total assets 90 million, and domestic corporation availing the optional standard deduction. Okay. Sige, dumaan tayo sa domestic corporation. Okay, scenario number 1, domestic corporation, let's compute. Pero, check muna natin yung given. Dun sa Philippines, meron kang gross sales, meron kang sales returns allowances, sales discounts, cost of sales. So, di ba sabi ko dito, kapag sale of goods, para ma-compute mo yung gross income, ma-minus mo yung returns allowances, discounts, and cost of sales. Tama? O, sige, compute with me. So, sa Philippines, 6 million. Okay, minus 200,000, minus 100,000, minus cost of sales na 2 million. Nakuha nyo ba class yung gross income na 3.7 million? So, lagay ko dito. So, yung gross income, okay, so gross income sa Philippines, 3.7 million. Tama? And then, gross income, okay, so gross income in Japan, tingnan natin. So, we have 4 million, minus 150,000, minus 80,000, minus 1.5. Nakuha nyo ba class yung 2,270,000? Okay, lagay mo dyan, 2,270,000, 2,270,000. Okay, so that's your gross income. Ayusin natin yung format. So, ito na lang gawin natin. Dito yung Philippines and then dito yung Japan. Philippines and Japan. Okay? Lagay natin gross income and net taxable income. So, yung gross income in the Philippines, na-compute natin earlier, it's 3.7 million. Sa Japan naman, 2,270,000. And then yung net taxable income, sa Philippines muna tayo, class. So, gross income na 3.7 minus yung expenses na 1 million, okay, you have 2.7 million. Net taxable income in the Philippines, 2.7 million. Sa Japan naman, 2,270 minus 500,000, you have 1,770,000. Tama? Compute na rin natin class yung total. Total gross income, 3.7 million plus 3.7 million plus 2,270. Okay, 5,970,000. Tama? 5,970,000. And then, total net taxable income, 2.7 million plus 1,770, you get 4,470,000. Alright, so 4,470,000. Ayan. Now, we know class na kapag domestic corporation, taxable siya within and without the Philippines. So, ibig sabihin, yung income na na-earn niya sa Philippines and Japan, tataksa natin lahat yan. So, therefore, to compute for the R-SIT, okay, dalawa compute natin, R-SIT and M-SIT. Yung R-SIT natin, yung magiging base mo. Net taxable income globally. Tama? 4,470,000. So, lagay ko dito, net taxable income na 4,470,000. Multiply ko yung class by ilang percent yung gagamitin natin. Well, like exceed ka ng 100 million na assets, multiply natin yan by 25%. 4,470,000 times 25%, you get R-SIT of 117,500. This is your R-SIT. Got it? Let's compute for the M-SIT. So class, sa M-SIT, kapag silent yung problem, compute mo yan. Okay? Huwag mo na hintayin na nakalagay pa na 4th taxable year, 5th taxable year. Basta pag silent yung problem, mag-compute ka na M-SIT. Okay? Sige. So, gross income natin dito, class. Again, yung M-SIT is 1% of gross income. So, ang magiging basis mo dito, since it's a domestic corporation, yung total gross income. So, gross income natin, globally, is 5,970,000. Multiply natin yung class by 1%. Okay? So, 5,970. Multiply natin by 5,970,000 times 1%, you get 59,700. R-SIT is 1,117,500. M-SIT is 59,700. Whichever is higher, answer mo dyan, 1,117,500. Okay? Assuming corporation is a domestic corporation. Let's go to assumption or scenario number 2. Sir, what if naman resident foreign corporation? Resident foreign corporation, computin natin yung R-SIT and M-SIT. We know resident foreign corporations are taxable only sa income earned within the Philippines. So therefore, class, ang gagawin nating basis is 2.7 million. Tama? So, net taxable income na 2.7 million, multiply natin yan by 25%. Okay? 2.7 million times 25%, 675,000. This is your R-SIT. So, class, tanong ko sa inyo, relevant ba sa atin yung total assets and net taxable income kapag resident foreign corporation? No, irrelevant sa atin yun. Because this one, yung exception na yan, again, applies only to domestic corporations. Got it? Okay. Class, magko-compute ka ba ng M-SIT for resident foreign corporations? Answer is yes. Applies to domestic corporation and resident foreign corporation. If ang base mo, okay, if ang tax base mo is net taxable income, magko-compute ka ng M-SIT. Ano yung net taxable income? Ito. Domestic corporation and resident foreign. Okay? Kapag ang tax base mo is gross income, hindi ka magko-compute ng M-SIT. For example, yung non-resident foreign corporation. Alright? So, since taxable lang in the Philippines, ito yung magiging basis mo dyan. So, gross income natin na 3.7 million. Okay? 3.7 million, multiply natin by 1%. You have 37,000 na M-SIT. Obviously, whichever is higher, answer natin 675,000. Let's go to scenario number 3. What if naman, class, non-resident foreign corporations, taxable siya within the Philippines, okay? And we know, yung tax rate niya is actually a final withholding tax of 25%. Okay, so may basis natin dyan is the gross income in the Philippines. Tama? Nasaan yan? Gross income in the Philippines is 3.7 million. So, lagay natin dyan. Gross income in the Philippines, 3.7 million. 3.7 million. Multiply natin by the final withholding tax of 25%. 3.7 million times 25%. Answer mo dito, class, is 925,000. 925,000 in the form of final withholding tax. Alright? Let's go to scenario number 4. Domestic corporation with total assets of 90 million. Okay. So, total assets na 90 million. Let's assume na, well, kahit including or excluding land yan, Obviously, mas mababa sa 100 million yan. Alright? Now, tignan natin class kung papasok siya dun sa threshold. Dalawa yung requirements. So, okay na tayo dito. How about yung net taxable income? Since domestic corporation yan, yung net taxable income na gagamitin mo is global. Tama? Which is 4470,000. 4470,000. So, yung assets natin na 19 million, pasok siya dito. Net taxable income na 4470, pasok din siya dito. It means we can use the 20%. 4470,000 times 20%. Okay, let's compute. 4470,000 times 0.2. 4470,000 times 0.2, you get 894,000. Our seat natin for this one is 894,000. Let's compute for the M-seat. Okay, yung M-seat natin. Actually, na-compute na natin yung M-seat. Okay, because M-seat, kung ano yung na-compute natin sa scenario 1, yung pa rin yan. 59,700. Tama? Obviously, mas mataas yung 894,000. Answer natin dito, 894,000. Okay, let's go to scenario number 5. What if naman, sir, nag-optional standard deduction si domestic corporation? Okay? Let's say, class, balik tayo sa original problem, original given, na 150 million assets, and then nag-OSD siya. So, balik tayo dito. Kapag OSD na corporation, ang basis natin is gross income. Okay? Pag OSD na individuals, ang basis mo, gross sales or receipts. Okay, katulad ko dyan. So, since domestic corporation tayo, ibig sabihin, taxable globally tayo. Tama? So, domestic corporation, ang gagawin ko dyan, class, mag-start muna ako with gross income na global. 5,970,000. So, gross income na 5,970,000, mag-multiply ako dyan ng 40% to get the OSD. Okay? 5,970,000 times 40%, 2,388,000. So, 2,388,000. Alright? So, makukuha ko dito, class, is my net taxable income. Net taxable income natin, 5,970 minus 2,388,000. You have 3,582,000. 3,582,000, multiply natin by 25%. So, assume natin yung original given na assets of 150 million to 3,582,000 times 25%, you get 895,500. 895,500. This is your R seat. Yung M seat natin dyan, obviously, same pa rin, which is 59,700. Final answer, R seat, 895,500. Okay. Yan. So, I think yung problem number 4, ma-cover na natin lahat ng scenarios for corporations. Alright. Sige, let's go to problem number 5. Okay, so practice pa tayo. Problem number 5, ABC Corporation, a corporation organized in 2017 under Philippine laws. Pag sabing organized under Philippine laws, domestic corporation yan, automatic. Pero again, if the problem is silent, ang assumption natin, domestic corporation. Okay? In the same way na sa individuals, kapag silent, ang assumption natin, resident citizen. Alright, so reported the following information from 2021 to 2024. Meron kang total assets, including land, okay? And then you have land value. So basically, tatanggalin lang natin yung land value sa total assets. Okay, then check natin, ipapasok siya dun sa threshold. You have gross income and you have allowable deductions. And then we're given ilang years? 2021, 2022, and then 23 and 24. Okay? So sige, class. So per year, compute natin yan. Gawin muna natin, class, is let's compute for the total assets. Lagay natin 2021, 2022, okay? 2023, 2024. Okay, so class, compute natin yung total assets, excluding land. Okay? Excluding land. Sige nga, 2021, meron tayong total assets 110 million minus 20 million, 90 million for the land. Sa 2022 naman, class, 120 million minus 20, you have 100 million. 2023, 140 minus 25, you have 115 million. And then 2024, 120 minus 25, you have 95 million. Got it? Okay. Now, next natin gagawin is, again, ito muna. Dapat alamin natin yung threshold. Okay na tayo sa assets. Let's compute for the net taxable income per year. Okay, so net taxable income, class, is just gross income minus your allowable deductions. Okay, yun yung net taxable income natin. 2021, we have 8 million minus 3.5 million. Write it down, 4.5 million net taxable income natin for 2021. 2022, 10 million minus 4.5 million, that is 5.5 million. 2023, 7 million minus 7,250, negative 250,000. And then 2024, 10.5 million minus 9 million, you have 1.5 million. Okay. So anong tax rate yung gagamitin natin, class? For 2021, pasok siya dun sa threshold, we can use 20% tax rate. Tama? 2022, okay yung assets niya, net taxable income nag-exceed 25%. Kasi both dapat masatisfy. 115, so sumobra na agad sa assets, 25%. 95 million and 1.5 million, you can use 20%. Alright? Now, question here is income tax payable. Sa corporations, to compute for the income tax payable, we have to compute for the R-seat and the M-seat. Doon muna tayo sa R-seat. Okay? We have R-seat and we have M-seat. Ayan. So, R-seat natin is 4.5 million times 20%. You get 900,000. Alright? And then class, yung M-SIT natin, since you have gross income, as in gross income, sa given siya, 8 million, nakita niyan? 8 million times 1%, you have 80,000. Okay? So 8 million times 1%, 80,000. That's M-SIT. Obviously, piliin natin whichever is higher. So ibig sabihin class, ang sagot sa 2021 is 900,000. Let's go to 2022. Our SIT natin class is 5.5 million times 25%. You get 1,375,000. And then computing natin class yung M-SIT natin, which is gross income in the problem is 10 million times 1%. That's 100,000. Okay? 10 million times 1%, 100,000. Obviously, whichever is higher, 1,375,000. Alright, let's do the same thing for 2023. So 2023, negative yan, 250. So ibig sabihin, R-SIT mo is 0. Okay? And then yung M-SIT natin class, dito ka may issue dyan, 2023. Because if you remember class, yung M-SIT natin, na 1%, this is from June, ano yung sabi ko kayo na? Para exact tayo sa date natin, yung M-SIT natin class is from July 1, 2020 to June 30, 2023. Okay? Yun yung 1%. Kaya dito, 1% yung ginamit natin class. 2021 and 2022. Pero sa 2023, take note na yung first half of the year, 1% gagamitin mo. Second half of the year, starting July 1, babalikan sa 2%. Okay? So, ibig sabihin class, para ma-compute natin yung M-SIT dito, ang gagawin natin, nakita nyo ba yung gross income sa problem? That is 7 million. Tama? So, ganito gagawin natin dyan. Dito natin computein. Lagyan natin ng asterisk. Asterisk. So, yung 7 million, okay? Sa first half of the year, kalahati, 3.5 million, multiply natin by 1%. Alright? And then yung another half, 3.5 million, multiply natin by 2%. Okay? So, 3.5 million, tama? Plus 1%, that is 35,000. So, this is 35,000. And then 3.5 million times 2%, this is 70,000. Okay? 35,000 plus 70,000, you have 105,000. Nakuha mo yan? So 105,000, yung sagot natin dito sa M-SIT. 105,000. Okay, so mag-ingat ka sa date sa board exam. Alright? Pwedeng hindi explicit sabihin, ang bibigay lang sa'yo yung date. Okay, ingat ka. Very important to. For this time period, ang gagamitin mo dyan is 1%. Paglagpas niyan, starting July 1, 2023, back to 2% ka na. Kaya dito, hinati natin. Okay? Hinati natin 1%, 2%, total is 105,000. Now class, if you remember here, sabi ko, sa fourth one, sa M-SIT, okay? Yung excess M-SIT, whenever M-SIT is greater than R-SIT, actually dito nangyari yun, sa 2023. Okay? Maglagay ka ng row for excess M-SIT. Sa 2021, walang excess M-SIT because mas mataas yung R-SIT. Okay? 2022, wala kang excess M-SIT, pero sa 2023, meron kang excess M-SIT, which is 105,000. Okay? Yung excess M-SIT na yan, pwede natin i-carry over for 3 years. So kung 2023 yan, 24, 25, 26. Hanggang 2026, pwede natin i-carry over. Ngayon, pwede mo siyang i-minus whenever yung R-SIT mo mas mataas sa M-SIT. Okay? Sige, apply natin. Let's go to year 2024. Compute natin yung R-SIT muna. Okay? Meron tayong net taxable income na 1.5 million. Multiply natin by 20%, you get 300,000. Alright, so 300,000, ito yung R-SIT natin. Okay? And then, yung M-SIT natin class, nakita mo yung gross income dyan, which is 10.5 million. 10.5 million, since 2024 na yan, 2% mo na yung multiply yan. Okay? Hindi mo na kailangan hatiin yan. 10.5 million times 0.02, you should get 210,000. Now, whichever is higher, tama? So, ibig sabihin, pipiliin natin 300,000. So, sa year 2024 class, take note na yung R-SIT mo mas mataas sa M-SIT. R-SIT is greater than M-SIT. Tama? So, ibig sabihin class, yung excess M-SIT mo na 105,000, since for this one, mas mataas na si R-SIT sa M-SIT, okay, ima-minus mo siya dito. Okay? 300,000 minus 105,000, you get 195,000. Final answer natin for 2024 is 195,000. Okay? So, ito yung mga sagot natin na 900, 1,375, 105, and 195,000. Take note class na yung comparison mo, di ba, pinipili natin whichever is higher. Yung comparison mo class is before considering yung excess M-SIT. Baka kasi ang gawin mo, 300 minus 105, 195. Tapos i-compare mo yung 195 sa 210. Obviously, higher yung 210. Hindi ganun yung comparison. Ang comparison class is yung R-SIT before mo i-consider yung excess M-SIT. Okay? Ibig sabihin, 300 versus 210. Kung ano yung higher dyan, yung piliin mo. Okay? Since higher yung 300, saka mo lang i-minus yung 105. Okay? Ingat ka dun. Now, also take note class na yung 250,000 ng 2023 is negative amount. Actually, may term tayo dyan. Ang tawag natin dyan is NOLCO or Net Operating Loss Carryover. Alright? Well, i-expound natin siya class sa deductions na discussion natin. Actually, yung gross income na yan and deductions, mahabang discussion yan. So, meron tayong separate sessions for these two topics. Okay? I-discuss din natin dun class yung concept ng NOLCO. But basically, yung NOLCO na yan is whenever yung deductions mo mas mataas sa gross income, kaya negative. Alright? And then, bibigyan natin ng overview, pero di-discuss ulit natin to. Yung NOLCO na yan class, pwede mo siyang i-carry over. Okay? And actually, may effect din yung Bayanihan Act. So under Bayanihan Act 2, again, i-discuss natin ito ulit, pero under Bayanihan Act 2, yung NOLCO, pag na-incur mo siya sa year 2020 and 2021, alright, i-carry over mo siya for 5 years. Kasi ang general rule dito, 3 years lang. Okay? 3 years lang. Pero pag na-incur mo siya during pandemic, 2020 and 2021, pwede mo siya i-carry over for 5 years. Okay? Actually, kasi yung NOLCO na yan, pumapasok yan sa deductions. Additional deduction siya. Dito. Alright? So, yung given na deduction sa problem, in-assume natin na nandiyan na yung NOLCO. Okay? Actually, kasi NOLCO na yan, kung naalala nyo sa financial accounting nyo, naalala nyo pa yung deferred tax asset, DTA? DTA yung presentation nyo sa balance sheet ng NOLCO. Alright? Sige. Okay, so that's it for number 5. Tignan natin, meron pa ba tayong pwedeng sagutan before we move on to the next concept? Actually, sagutan natin class yung problem 1 sa additional exercises na in-upload ko sa Facebook group natin. Alright? So, kunin mo yung class, let's answer yung problem number 1. Okay, so problem number 1, so in-upload ko yan sa group because this one is quarterly computation naman. Okay? So annual computation yung tinuro ko sa inyo. For this one is quarterly. Kailangan mo nang tandaan class, sa quarterly computation of RSIT and MSIT, cumulative yung computation dyan. Naalala mo yung nagsagot tayo sa individuals na quarterly computation? Ganun din dito sa corporation. Okay? Gagawin natin is cumulative. Okay, so sige. Let's go to problem 1 sa additional exercises natin.